That's all right. Thank you.
No problem.
Samad, is it okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Should we turn on our webcam or keep it like this?
Whatever, I don't have a problem.
Well, let me
We
turn
should
on.
turn on the webcams when we want to take.
Or maybe we can just turn our webcam to introduce ourselves. Just
Yeah.
Okay, let me just turn
and
it
if
on.
anyone wants to
Okay.
do the same thing, we would be happy to see your faces.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice
Yeah.
to
I
meet you,
mean,
Samad.
just take a look at everyone.
Yeah, that's great.
Hi, Asti.
I get
Oh, it's
another
been
universe. This
recorded
is
like
another
this.
talk. Oh god.
Okay.
Well, this is a new level to the workshop, I shall say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Online.
It's a unique workshop.
Yeah. Definitely it is. Okay.
Okay. All right. So we're mostly going to talk about WLF, but you can see the other two logos on the screen. So I will just briefly describe them. Aprende Leondo is a partner organization with WLF. They work to ensure children from a disadvantaged background in Colombia have the opportunity to acquire literacy skills to reach their full potential, succeed at school and beyond. Fatima Al-Fihri Open University is providing short courses for the last 4 years. They run their internship program 3 times a year, which has got pretty popular. We love our stay in their workplace. People are friendly and helpful. So I'll take this moment to mention that they are calling for the internship program. If anyone is interested, then you can apply. I will provide the link of these three organizations in the chat box. You can take a look at them. So let us officially begin. Hello everyone, thank you for attending the workshop. It would take around 1 hour more or less. So since we're doing this online, there might be network issues, but hopefully there won't be any problem. You can turn on or off your webcam if anyone has low bandwidth. If the network becomes unstable, we will try our best to deliver this presentation. Now, we would like to introduce ourselves. I'm Nafi from Bangladesh. I have Imane and Lamia with me in the team. They are from Morocco. We are the ambassadors of WLF and members of FAO as well. So this workshop is about how to advocate for literacy. Say you're not capable of giving any donation, but you can always find people who can. You can always try to find people who will join with you for your cause and look for people who can donate. For that, your cause needs to be clear and meaningful, something that people can relate to. This is why we're doing this workshop, and we believe those who are attending today's workshop are the kind of people who care about eradicating illiteracy from the world and make sure that every child knows how to read and write. We also spent just a few days to announce the workshop, so that's a factor to the number of attendees we have today. We don't have 50 to 100 people, unfortunately. If you're interested in working as an ambassador or volunteer to fight for literacy, this workshop will help you. And we will do our best to help you out in that case by providing some valuable information. As you can see, there are three segments for this workshop: literacy, advocacy, and fundraising. So now I will give the floor to Imane. She will begin with literacy.
Hi everyone. My name is Imane. I'm 21 years old and I'm from Morocco, Casablanca, and I will be presenting the first segment, which is literacy. Okay, so welcome to the World Literacy Foundation. WLF is changing children's lives through the power of literacy. They strive to ensure that every young individual, regardless of geographic location, has the opportunity to acquire literacy and reading skills to reach their full potential, succeed at school, and beyond. They provide free access to quality educational materials and innovative solutions that target wide-scale illiteracy. So how do they do that? So they provide educational resources like books, literacy tutoring to disadvantaged children who are struggling to read and write. And they gather literacy leaders and organizations around the world to share ideas and collaborate within the sector. They create ebooks and digital learning activities for children in rural and remote classrooms, such as in Africa, in the UK, in the United States. Using innovative technology, software, they also empower people to advocate for literacy in their local communities. Now we're going to talk about the World Literacy Foundation's impact so far. So far we have more than 350,000 children and parents that have accessed their services, have more than 4,000 volunteer hours donated to their projects, more than 20,600 books distributed, 750 young leaders from over 80 countries around the world participated in the Ambassador Program in 2019, which is the same program that we are participating in with Lamiaa and Nafi this year. And more than 410 million people that have been reached through mainstream media, advocacy events, and social media. So moving on to the next slide, why they do it? Well, because we have 250 million children around the world who struggle to learn basic reading and writing skills. Have more than 750 million that are illiterate. Sadly, nearly 2/3 of them are women. 200 million struggle to read a sentence, and illiterate people earn on average 35% less than literate person. So literacy basically affects all areas of life. Those with low literacy skills are far more likely to live in poverty. They can face health problems because they can't read prescription labels or instructions, and they grow isolated because in a world that is increasingly dependent on computers and on technology. Here I'm going to give some examples of the World Literacy Foundation's programs. They have a program in the United States. The WLF is partnering with local schools and communities in the Midwestern region to provide children's books, tutoring, and literacy support to families from disadvantaged backgrounds. In the United Kingdom, the World Literacy Foundation runs local programs such as children's books distribution, parent mentoring, and literacy tutoring services. And when it comes to global projects, the World Literacy Foundation runs global projects to advocate for literacy around the world, such as the Ambassador Program or the World Literacy Summit, and much more. So now I'm going to give the floor to Lamiaa for the next part.
So thank you, Imane. So we would start with literacy, but before that, let's read the proverb of Irina Bokova, the executive director of UNESCO. So Irina said that literacy is much more than an educational priority. It is the ultimate investment in the future and the first step towards all the new forms of literacy required in the 21st century. We wish to see a century where every child is able to read and to use this skill to gain autonomy. So to understand this proverb, we need to know what is the definition of literacy. So literacy is the ability to understand, to identify, and even communicate using printed or written materials and even visuals associated with varying contexts. So, literacy has an important role in our life, and lacking vital literacy skills holds a person back at every stage of their life, at childhood or even as an adult. So, as a child, they will not be able to succeed at school, and as a young adult, they will be locked out of the job market. And as a parent, they will not be able to support their child's learning. So literacy is a fundamental right, and that the foundation would that World Literacy Foundation try to raise awareness about it. It imparts knowledge, skills, and self-confidence to transform lives, leading to better health and income, as well as fuller participation in the community. So literacy is the key skill and the key measure of a population's education. So literacy percentages has impacts on the economy and social life. So talking about low literacy skills and her impacts on the economy, illiteracy costs the global economy over 1 trillion USD annually. So literacy, as we know, is the foundation of the community and economic development. And wasting all that money on illiterate people and knowing that they lose a lot of opportunities in their life. And for the next point is that 85% of the teenagers who are involved in criminal activities are functionally illiterate. So this is a reason that high crime rates have a direct relation to low literacy skills. And for the third point, 188 million people were unemployed worldwide in 2019, sorry, and they weren't able to find a decent livelihood job due to lack of literacy and numeracy skills. So now I'm leaving the floor to Nafi to complete the consequences of low literacy skills on the social life.
Thank you, Lamia. So, social impact. People who are completely or functionally illiterate face the prospect of poor health outcomes, welfare dependency, gender inequality, and a lack of social cohesion. There are studies that have shown a mother's literacy level is closely related to her child's health and survival. Literacy significantly enhances a person's ability to access, understand, and apply information about health to make informed decisions. Girls are still more likely than boys to never attend school, and globally women earn approximately 77% of what men earn. Literacy promotes gender equality as a fundamental condition for the full enjoyment of human rights, providing better skills for work and socio-economic participation by women and men. So this is why both girls and boys should be equally literate. This is low literacy levels impact the community. Academic problems lead to social problems, and that leads to dropping out from school or college. Not getting proper education leads people to commit crimes and stay unemployed. Later on, there might be health issues which lead to death. Here, you get to see the difference between the literacy rate of both adults and youth. You can clearly see that literacy rate of youth is pretty low compared to that of adults. Youth literacy rates remain low in several countries, most of them in sub-Saharan Africa, which suggests problems with limited access to schooling, high rates of early school leavers, and poor quality education. 1 in 5 children, including adolescents and youth, are out of school. That's not good. Adults like us need to come forward to increase the literacy rate of the children. Here's the impact of COVID-19. As of mid-April 2020, 1.5 billion children and youth were affected by school closures in 195 countries, from pre-primary to higher education, said by Susanne Grand-Lewis. fact that people are stuck at home, there are children dimensions, and they are domestic burdens. In many societies, women and girls take on the majority of unpaid domestic and childcare tasks, which will increase when schools and workplaces close. Healthcare demands women and girls from the majority of the healthcare workforce, whether paid or unpaid. Data shows that in Spain and Italy, respectively, 72% and 66% of infected healthcare workers are female. Domestic violence, it's happening everywhere in the world. Without school, a place of safety as well as education, as a lifeline, home confinement means there is a heightened risk of domestic violence and sexual abuse. Sexual and reproductive health. Following the Ebola crisis, Sierra Leone saw a huge rise in adolescent pregnancy. In some communities, pregnancy will be a permanent barrier to a girl returning to education, even once the COVID-19 crisis ends. If more people were literate, then more people would know what birth control is. The population around the world is keep on rising. People still have 5 children instead of one in the rural area. Now I'll give the floor to Imane again.
Thank you, Nafi. Can you hear me, guys? Okay. So now we're going to move on to segment number 2, which is advocacy. Thanks. So first of all, what is advocacy? Advocacy means to actively promote a cause or principle in order to bring about change and help others. Advocacy involves awareness raising, communication, and media work. For advocacy to be effective, it is important to build a solid plan and practice advocacy skills. So for advocating for literacy, for example, we have to consider it as an investment in our future. Enhancing literacy levels is essential to economic development and to the well-being of communities worldwide. By empowering children with literacy, we can break the cycle. The end result will be a stronger and healthier community with a more talented workforce. What we hope to achieve is to build a world in which every one of us can read and write, in which there is no Okay, so to do that, step number 1, we need to set our goal. What do we want the advocacy to achieve? What do we want the advocacy to achieve? Goals need to be formulated at the beginning of any advocacy work and they define the desired result of any desired advocacy activity. While setting your goals, remember that they should be smart. So what does smart mean? It's S, for example, stands for specific. So you can always dream big, but do not set broad goals. How do you define the letter S? You can ask yourself questions such as, what do you need to achieve? Are you clear on the parameters and outcomes? Have you provided enough detail that ensures clarity and common understanding of what it is to be achieved? And what is the expected result? For the letter M, it means measurable. So put your goals in measurable terms. If you can't measure it, then you can't manage it. So for the letter M, you can ask yourself questions such as, can this be measured? If so, can you conclude without argument that the result has been achieved? How will you know the goal has been achieved? And what indicators will you look for to measure progress and success? For A, it means achievable. So you have to set realistic goals that you and your group can actually achieve. So to do that, ask yourself questions such as, is the goal appropriate for your mission? Will the goal stretch and challenge you? And can you achieve your goal in the available resources, with the available resources? And if not, can you address this, or can you find other resources? So moving on to letter R, we have R that stands for relevant. You should be setting goals that will start your group on the path to successfully accomplishing its mission. So does the achievement of this goal contribute to your mission or achieve your overall goals? In what way is the goal significant? and how does the goal fit within the context of your role. And finally, T for time, a date for completion should be set. So if the goal goes beyond the review period, have you set milestone dates? Are there any other which will depend upon the completion of the one or the previous one? What could impact or compromise the deadline, and is the deadline realistic? Okay, now moving on to step number 2, which is to select the audience. So the next step is to understand which people and institutions you need to influence to make sure that your impact is achieved. For advocacy work, the target audience will usually be decision makers and influencers. So still in step number 2, decision makers. Decision makers are the primary audience. So what I mean by that, these are the individuals or groups who can make decisions in relation to literacy and education issues, such as the government, ministries and parliaments, donors, funding agencies, private sector employers, community leaders, NGOs, etc. When it comes to influencers, these should be the secondary audience or individuals or groups who have access to the decision makers and who may be able to influence them so they can become partners in the advocacy plan in the future. So influencers can be civil society, opinion leaders, entertainment and sport personalities, teachers, professors and researchers, and finally, it can also be education and literacy professionals or organizations. So now I'm going to give the floor again to Mia.
So moving to the step 3, which is develop the key messages. So after setting goals of your advocacy and selecting your audience, you need to develop the key messages. Before that, a key message is the most important element in deciding how an audience would perceive you and your arguments. So these key messages should be clear, compelling, concise, consistent, and convincing. You need to summarize the change you want to bring about. So which change do you want to bring to your community, to your life, and to your country? The key message should be simple and direct. It should be direct and use just one sentence or two sentences, and they should be really clear. For the fourth point, which is emotional but rational at the same time, you need to touch the emotional parts of your audience, and but at the same time, you use your mind clearly and be rational. And the fourth point, which is frequently repeated and reinforced by a combination of resources. So people are more likely to believe and understand a message heard from different resources. You can, if you use one platform of social media, you can use maybe Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, rather than just using Facebook. So to develop these key messages, there is two types of key messages: primary message and secondary message. So for the primary message, it's usually the most universally compelling message of your target audience. It should include neither a statement, an evidence, example, goal, or action desired. For your statement, your central, your idea or your cause of the problem, and you mention why the change is important to your community. For the evidence, if you use it, you need to support the statement with facts, figures, or even using tailored language. For the example, maybe you can add human face while communicating, because people they really believe testimonials of real people. And for goals, maybe you can mention one of your goals, one of your visions that you are trying to attain by this showcasing about this goals. And the last one, which is action desired, it should be the solution. You can just give a part of the solution and not all the solution of the problem you are suggesting. And so this forms is the core of an advocacy message, and that distinguish from any other normal communication message. And for the secondary message, it explains how the goals of the primary message will be met, and where you can have several secondary message, and they can be tailored to wider or more specific audience. As an example, you can have an audience, decision makers, but as more specific audience, you can just have like professionals. And moving to the step number 4, which is selecting effective ways to advocate. There is two ways. There is direct communication and campaigning. If you choose direct communication, that involves influencing through direct private communications with decision makers, particularly through personal meetings with the decision makers. And this is be a powerful and cost-effective advocacy tool. If you choose campaigning, there is a lot of ways. If you choose campaigning, you can work on opinion pieces and letters to the editors and newspapers. You can work with newsletters. Even you can have some celebrity endorsements, as getting partnerships with media, with newspaper journalists, or even filmmakers. If you use social media, there is a large opportunity for you to create content through videos, through writing, through creating posts and videos. And if you choose to organize events, it's also a good way to reinforce your campaign. So now I'm leaving Nafi to continue the steps of your advocacy.
Thank you, Lamiaa. Step 5. Monitor and evaluate your impact. After you have selected effective ways to advocate, you have to monitor and evaluate the impact, checking whether your campaign is working or not. What are the ways you can improve? Were there any steps that didn't work? Then perhaps you should go back to that step and replan your campaign. Like we would have to change the date and time of our workshop today if it wasn't good for anyone who has registered. We, we would have to change it to a time which would be suitable for everyone. In that way, our workshop would be more effective. So you can ask yourself some questions that will answer these indicators, as you can see on the screen: activities, output, outcomes, impact. So the questions can be like, what worked and how well it did? What did not work and why? What could be improved and how? What worked better than expected? How and where has your team been helpful? How and where has your team been a limitation? What disappointed your team? What messages have resonated? And have they helped to achieve our goals? What are the barriers to success, external or and internal? So what facilitated success, including scenarios which were not anticipated? By finding out the answers to these questions, you will be able to uh, find some indicates that will help you to monitor and evaluate your impact. In some ways, an action plan is a heroic act. It helps us turn our dreams into a reality. An action plan is a way to make sure your vision is made concrete. It describes the way your group will use its strategies to meet its objectives. An action plan consists of a number of action steps or changes to be brought about in your agenda. An advocacy action plan outlines the advocacy work into clear and result-oriented tasks for implementation. The plan should detail the activities that will be carried out, the time by which they will be completed, and the sources required to complete them. Bear in mind that you can aim to get results in intervals along the way to reach your advocacy goal. So this is an example of an action plan. Remember to be organized and to use social media like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and many other social networks that you can reach far more people compared to an email or mail due to their sharing features. There's a share button on every social network nowadays. So they are a good way to connect with people you don't know personally, and therefore you don't have their email or postal address. You won't be invading their privacy, but still be able to communicate to carry out your campaign. In addition, social media is a good way to advocate for your cause by regularly posting updates, images, videos, and sharing information about your campaign. Once again, I'll give the floor to Imane.
Can you hear me?
Mike.
Yes. I said now we're going to talk about the last segment, which is fundraising. Okay. So we are going to talk about the 10 steps to successful fundraising. We're starting from step number 1, which is just like in advocacy to define a goal. So raise a specific amount of money. This is usually the primary goal for both a nonprofit organization and individuals when fundraising. While all of the other goals are important, the main focus of any fundraising initiative is to do just that, to raise funds. So for example, if you want to raise money for a cause, remember that any amount that you are able to raise, whether it's high or low, is highly appreciated. Nevertheless, it is important to decide how much you want to raise at the beginning of the fundraising campaign. Moving on to step number 2, speak to your school or workplace. So it can be very helpful to talk to your school, university, or workplace early if you need them on board for your fundraising. So you have to take permission to run a fundraising campaign. You can share your goal and listen to their suggestions on what are the things that you can possibly do inside the premises. You can gather up volunteers for it, contact social service or similar club founders. You can keep account of all types of costs involved on running the campaign and try to keep it as low as it can be. Step number 3, pick an activity. You can either pick to create an activity or pick an activity from these, which are like children games, online video games, for example, collab singing using StarMaker or small apps. Mass email requires digital marketing skills. You can do a live event via popular Facebook page, Instagram page, or YouTube channel. Of course, there are much more activities that you can choose from. And step number 4, which is to organize a platform. Where are you going to do the fundraising? So a fundraising platform such as, for example, GoFundMe, which is a pretty popular one, can be a helpful tool for people to be able to donate online. Remember to consider the following aspects, which are costs, accessibility, customer support, time frame, advertising, and sharing. There are other platforms that empower individuals and nonprofit organizations to collaborate and take action together, such as CrowdRise, causes.com, Donate Now, and Network for Good, I think. Okay, now I'm gonna give the floor to Lamiaa.
So moving to the next step, which is organizing a platform. Like we took an example of Facebook, you can set up a free Facebook fundraising page, link it, and you link it to the World Literacy Foundation or any other foundation, and to create a fundraiser for a charitable organization or follow these steps. These steps are majorly more technical than we can just send it to you. It's by clicking fundraiser in the left menu of your feed, raising money, select a nonprofit charity. These steps are really technical, and they are the things that you need to follow during organizing this platform. So for donation and fundraising features on Facebook are not available in every country. So these steps are available in the countries where they can afford uh, creating a free Facebook fundraising page. And let's move to the next step, which is come up with a to-do list and a timeline. So if you choose to, to help fundraising an action, you need to have a really clear to-do list and a timeline to follow. So once you have chosen what you are doing and what you need to create a timeline and a to-do list to make it happen. Remember to break a project down easily achievable task so that you can do it so that you can don't get overwhelmed. So your to-do list, you need to decide what medium works best for you. Make a list of the tasks that you need to accomplish, and outsource any task you can. I'm sorry. So after that, you need to sort your master list into categories. Make your to-do list for the current day only. I'm sorry. After that, try to write down due dates next to every task on your master list. And after that, you need to put your to-do list somewhere. You will see regularly. Share your list with someone, with a volunteer or a mentor, and that would help you to improve your action. For your timeline, you need to gather information on your chosen or assigned topic. You make a list of events you want to organize, and you use a timeline to tell a story. So after that, you need to check out example of timelines and draw your own, and choose a point of start, and decide how you will present your events. Select your time and put the most important dates in the timeline. Maybe you can put either pictures and write it clearly and concisely there in the timeline. So during your action, you maybe need volunteers. So you can speak to your friend, classmates, family, or teachers to see who would be happy to help if there are tasks that require specific skills such as graphic design, video editing. It could be helpful to find someone who want to help and who can already do this. Also, having another or someone as a mentor with fundraising experience to support it could be really helpful for you. And and the step number 7, which is advertise your fundraising. During fundraising, you need to advertise it to reach more people. So you need to do that based on marketing strategies to be able to promote the action. So you can use social media, information boards, make posters, and use word of mouth. You want as many people as possible to know and be excited about your fundraiser. You can use one of these platforms and tools, Google AdWords, other online resources such as social media organization, website partnership with organizations. You can use email, email marketing, media partners, press releases, and local events, clubs, or any kind of word of mouth. So now I'm leaving Nafi to continue the 3 other steps.
Thank you, Lamia. Okay, so step 8, hold your event. This is going to be it, the moment that you will be waiting for, holding the actual event. With the right preparation, this should be the fun part for you. If you hold the event offline, there is a low chance that people will come. Online is the best option right now. Now, be confident, serious, but sometimes funny too. Remember your speech, keep short notes with key points in it to help you remember what's the next thing to say. You don't want to put too much stress on yourself, otherwise, you will end up forgetting the speech, like I forget sometimes. And of course, don't forget to mention donate because That's the whole reason why you're holding an event in the first place. Step 9. Announce the results. Next, announce the results. People who participated in your event will be excited to know the contribution they made. And here are some questions that contributors may ask. For the first question, everyone loves to take first place. It is important to announce who is the highest contributor. It will motivate and encourage the donor to fund more in future. For the second question, there should be a public announcement of the result. The contributors deserve to be recognized for their kind deed. Technically, it will motivate them even more. And for the third, it's important to keep their trust. They may occasionally ask to find out whether their donations are being sent to the right place with the right amount of or not. In that case, we need to provide them information uh, and give them some relief that everything is going well. Lastly, the fourth question, sometimes someone may have donated too much by mistake. In that case, they'll ask for a refund. It happens a lot with non-profit organizations. So when it happens, you need to carefully give all the contact details needed so that they can reach the organization for refunding. When you're done with your fundraising campaign, you could make a print of this with a giant check, or you could just do a bank transfer and be done with it. Either way, you did it. I mean, you're done. It's complete. Uh, Now you can just relax and give yourself a pat on the back for a job well done. So there are three ways to send funds to the World Literacy Foundation. We have included the details of these three ways. First one is check, online donation, Facebook donations. These are the three ways they accept the money that have been collected from people who have contributed. So giving to those in need will bring more joy than money could ever buy, said by Dave Ramsey. So that's very important. We need to spread love, like advocacy and fundraising. These are just some ways to spread love in the world. I mean, look at them. They're laughing for real. They're not faking it. It's completely real. We can make them happy just like that. We can spread love just like that. The information that we have shared in our workshop can be utilized for online campaigns without any cost. So just imagine you can bring happiness to these children like this without buying anything at all, I mean, without spending any money. Just like it is said that you can't buy happiness with money. So that is what we can do online. You can even take your online fundraising campaign through paid ads. And if you have skills on digital marketing, that helps in an amazing way too. So our workshop is at end. We would like to get some feedback. How did you feel? Was it boring? It could have been more fun or anything else. I mean, you can share with us. Yeah, I mean, these are some three questions we have. You can try answering them, and that will help us to understand how the workshop went. Now we can all just talk now. It's free to talk.
Okay, that was really so informative and full of rich ways to actually do, I shall say, fundraising, especially that I remember, because it was really some stuff that I didn't know about fundraising, especially for example, Facebook fundraising, because I thought it was like only limited to, for example, the United States or Europe or Asia, but it was not available, for example, in North Africa. And that was actually like something that I learned today. Other stuff we have learned about the smart way to actually set objectives and goals, and of course how to, for example, promote for your action in that you're gonna do, or the events that you're gonna hold in order to gather donations, and many other stuff. Like I can't really set it like on each point because it's a lot.
Yes.
But that's what that is what is highlighted in my mind. Yeah.
Thank
It was
you.
really fun. It
Thank
was really
you.
fun. Thank you so much, guys, for your efforts. Really.
Yeah. Thank you. Well,
It is my pleasure.
Thank
Thank
you,
you for
Jahan, for
joining.
your comments.
well, you can
My pleasure.
keep in touch with us. Contact us if you want to run any fundraise. Um, we can help you out. And if you do it for a WLF, then you can contact with us for that as well. And as well as if you want to be part of WLF as an ambassador or volunteer, then like we are going to share the links of their website and all the details in email. We are also going to send you some resources like all the information that we collected from, as well as some activities, some Google form that you can fill up to tell us if you have any plan, and we will give you some advice that whether it is going to work or not and what you can do to improve it. And we can also may end up participating with you, making a new team.
And I want just to add one last thing. I want you to remember that also Fatima Al-Fihri Open University is opening like internships, and if you are interested to do it and to apply, there is a lot of departments, social media department, communication department, a lot of departments. I can't all mention it, but if you are interested, we will send you the link and you can apply.
I highly recommend.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
we
Thank
highly
you.
recommend it.
Yeah, it's very good.
Oh, I think Jihan has said that thank you. It's so insightful about WLF purpose and ways to promote and get donations. I thank you again. Well, you're welcome.
If you allow me,
Yes, please.
thank you
Yes, of
so
course.
much for your efforts. Thank you so much for this informative session, as has been said. So yes, I've learned so many things. Advocacy, how to advocate, and I think the point I want to add in here is like we need to use storytelling. Like it's very beneficial there, especially when it comes to something very inner human. Like we need really to be literate to succeed in all the life aspects. And when we just pick a story and share it with others, with our partners and stuff, we make them like empathetic so they can collaborate and help us. So yeah, I just want to add this. And thank you so much for the efforts again. And yes, let's stay in touch and see what's next.
Guys, don't leave yet. Let me take a screen and smile.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh,
Nafi can
Yes.
remove presentation.
Leave it with the thank you, or
Okay, that's good.
the thank you and the beginning of the presentation, the title.
As a beginning.
Done, Iman, done.
No, not yet. Wait, let me just.
Okay.
Let us know باش ما نجيوش.
بقيتها نفيكسي ديرها. Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
I can't fix the face. Oh my God.
Go on, Imane.
Wait, I'm just. Let me do
Nah.
another one.
Nah.
Okay,
Okay.
that's good. Okay.
Bye bye. The
Thank
exam
you
is
so
off.
much.
Okay.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
attending.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you
so
so
much,
much,
guys.
Thank
for
you
your
so
efforts.
much,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you for attending.
Thank you, Aztin, at Sama, Jihan,
So
everyone.
much, Jihan.
Thank you,
Take
all
care
of
of
you.
yourself.
And
Take care of yourself too.
we'll be sending you like the links.
Ah, yes, of course. Before
if
we
you're
finish.
interested into join in
I'm sorry to
the
interrupt.
internship
I'm sorry to interrupt.
or the ambassadors. Well, of course, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry. So
ahead,
the
go
thing
ahead,
is, if you can actually like send us the coordinates or contact info of World Literacy Foundation. So maybe if we, I don't know, like in the future we can do a collaboration between all of us. We can like World Merit or the World Merit Network. We can do an event or something like that.
Okay.
Be sure to send us like the contact info so that we can.
Okay, of course. Okay.
The president is working here. You see?
I'm just doing a side job.
Okay.
No, it's a great idea. Both of them
it's really
are non-profit organizations. So
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
I encourage you
we're
to
gonna
do
discuss it like in the future. But thank you.
Yeah.
We're gonna send an email with all the details. Don't worry about it. Like all the
Yeah.
links for the internship, for the ambassadors program, and everything that you will need, everything that you saw. Maybe even like the link to the presentation so you can see yourself.
Okay, I will be very interested though. I don't. Oh, God.
And so yeah, thank you so much, guys, again.
Thank you so
It was
much.
a great time, and yeah,
It was
Thank
have a
you.
nice
Thank you again.
rest of the
And
day.
have a nice evening.
Oh God.
You
Have a nice
too.
evening too.
Bye.
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 Bye. See you guys
Bye.
very soon.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Take care.
Take care of yourself.
Take care.
Stay safe.
All right.